High performers tend to have this insatiable appetite for skill acquisition, for knowledge, for learning, for trying to better oneself, which obviously in a competitive world can be a huge advantage, but there's times where that competitiveness needs to be parked in favor of collaboration, of learning from others, of not always trying to go it alone. I haven't always gotten that balance right, and I made a fatal error in that regard last year. So I was part of a mentorship group, which I've since rejoined, which was all about helping me build my fitness business, build my coaching business by another mentor who has done it all before himself, ran a successful coaching business, and now he helps other personal trainers create the lifestyle of their dreams, whilst also being in a mastermind, supporting each other, learning from each other, and learning from him. Great environment to be in. Last year, I started gaining some momentum in my coaching business. I had reached record high revenue numbers. And I just got this thing into my head where I was like, okay, I know the system now. I know the playbook. I know what to do. So I'm just going to go it alone. I have some other ideas that I think will work. And I just don't need this network. I'm going to be the lone wolf who does it all himself. And needless to say, that was an error on my part. I didn't realize the value of that intangible, invisible kind of hand, that support network, right? That community. It just fills this slot, I think, in our brains, where we are social creatures and we can't really escape it. Now, in the modern world, obviously, that has shifted quite a bit. And particularly if you're someone who's quite busy, if you're quite driven, goal-oriented, career-focused, you're not always going to want to have that same emphasis, let's imagine, on social life, community, etc., while you're in a building phase, right? Like when you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to make waves in your career, sometimes it makes more sense to kind of go a little bit monk, double down on your own goals, your own vision, to come back to more of a social life later, okay? But basically what I'm trying to say here is it's an error to completely abandon with all community efforts to, not see the value that can be had in aligning yourself with other people who are also all aiming upward. So that's actually why I rejoined the mentorship group that I had previously left, and why I actually took inspiration from that group to form the High Performers Fitness Network. So that's my own community that I run with my group coaching clients, where we meet up once a week. We do the group check-ins, so like the online one-to-one check-ins that most fitness coaches would do. I do that in a group setting with those people on my group tier. And then we also discuss just other areas of our lives that we're facing challenges in when it comes to our work performance, areas like sleep, just mindset, anything that gets in the way of us reaching our goals to do with living a better life, higher earning potential, better body composition. So I'm really excited about that network. One of the wins we had this past week, for example, just to give you an idea of the kind of problems we're solving, is one of those clients in the group, he was traveling away to a business conference, and that has always been the bane of my existence when I was working in my previous career. Just give me one moment. There's a lot of banging outside. I need to close this window. Oh, yeah. These old Soviet, well, it's not actually a Soviet one, but these old buildings in Sofia are amazing once the windows are closed. Like, I can't hear a thing now. Could hear a pin drop in this apartment, but before that, I could hear all sorts of shenanigans happening outside. But anyway, what I was saying is, so he was traveling away to a business conference. Long story short, he actually came back from it having lost weight, having established some great connections, and we were able to discuss his plan of attack coming into that conference about how he could get the best use of his time at that conference, how he could stay on track with his training, with his nutrition during such a stressful, I guess, but yet exciting opportunity for him. Because when I was previously in my old career, I used to run these kind of conferences, bringing together individuals from the tech industry, from, we had C-levels, VPs, all these kind of big guys in the industry come together to discuss new research topics for the industrial tech side of things. So, connecting manufacturing processes with smart control, automation, etc. That was my previous life. And we used to run those conferences, and I would come back from those feeling destroyed, because it's typically a scenario where you're working, 12 hours at least during the event itself. And then after that, you're expected to go to all these different social obligations, and your energy is so drained that you just end up overeating. At least I did. Overeating, drinking, getting overexcited then and overstimulated, by the conversation. And then that would just completely wipe me out for the following day. But then I'd repeat the behavior and again and again. And by the end of those conferences, about 4 or 5 days in, I was a complete wreck. I mean, my mind was just on a loop, overstimulated, whilst also exhausted. I was tired yet wired, inflamed, having gained a load of weight. And I would come back just again on this like overstimulated loop, but unable to get the rest that I really needed. And it would just throw me off. It would always be like 3 weeks out of my my usual training and nutrition plan that were just, it just completely went to shit. So we're able to solve those kind of problems together. At least not solve them 100%, but damage control. So like, for example, with this client, what we helped him to kind of create his little mini playbook going away to this conference was, we were saying, okay, budget out the amount of time that you want to actually go to different, let's say, seminars or workshops. Try and get in some breakfast meetings off campus with the people that you really want to speak to as potential clients, because that's where the business really happens, right? And then we were saying things like, maybe they take L-theanine instead of a bunch of caffeine throughout the day to give you this nice, stable, yet calm focus throughout the day, where you're not getting, these mad swings in energy. To control your calories, maybe skip breakfast, but then beyond that, don't overthink your eating, because you need all of the willpower and executive function that you can muster up for socializing and trying to close new clients at this conference. So it was those kind of tips we were discussing in the run up to this event. And of course, he also had his own ideas around how to implement this as well. He didn't end up training that week, so that's fine. It was just too busy and it wasn't a priority for him. And we'll just take that as a training break on his training program and then carry on into, getting back on plan now that he's in a stable environment again, back in the city that he works from. So everyone in that group has that support system like this, and it's also they get their training program, they get their nutrition program, everything included in that. They just don't get as much one-to-one time with me. If it's something you're interested in, I'm going to pop a link in the description to where you can actually sign up for that program. Well, there's a deadline, so by the time you're watching this, that deadline might be gone, because I'm closing the doors on it at the end of this week. So by Thursday, July 17th, I believe it is. Yeah, I'll be going on vacation basically to the Bulgarian seaside. I'm not taking my phone with me. Well, I'll take it with me, but I just won't have internet on most of the time. I'll be taking a social media detox. So yeah, I'm trying to get the rest of the slots filled up by then. I'll leave a link in the description, and if you're watching it after that, I'll have changed that link in the description to where you can basically download the Flexible Fat Loss Framework, which is all the Same kind of concepts that we're working off in that group, where I help my clients lose 10 kilos in 12 weeks. And it's specifically made for high performers, for those who are obsessed with their craft, where they actually put the majority of their energy, of their time, of their focus into their passion or into their work, into their higher purpose. So be sure to check that out in the description, and I'll catch you in the next video. But I guess the main thing I just want you to take away from this is, don't always try and go it alone, and instead surround yourself with people who are all aiming